So, dear students, in this session, we are going to see application-specific SRAMs. So, the name itself is representing that application-specific. Based on the application, the corresponding SRAM can be designed or that can be customized according to our wish. So, usually, application-specific SRAMs are especially made for high-density SRAMs or high-speed or optimized with the area. All these kind of parameters will be looked into for the application specific SRAMs. So here, customized features such as buried contacts. So wherever the size of the SRAM is matters or the speed of the SRAM is matters, where accordingly the layers also to be taken into consideration. So buried contacts and straps. The around layers, the straps which are used are contact points which are steps to be taken for reducing these buried contacts are straps to reduce the SRAM memory cell size. So not only to reduce the SRAM cell size, at the same time we can see the speed of operation also as one of the important parameters. So in this session we are going to see a few application specific SRAMs, such as with an example of first in first out. We can see along with that content addressable memory also. Let us first start with first in first out, serially accessed memory. So in this actually this first in first out consists of this is the diagram where you can observe here. This is consist of this complete data inputs D0 to D8 array RAM array, and the size is RAM array is 8192 by 9. So the data outs. So here this first in first out memory, for example, the shift registers one after the other will shift the data from D0 to D7. So the shift registers memory architecture through which the data are transferred in and out serially. So the serial or sequential architecture requires the memory cell containing the information be arranged so as to receive and retrieve one bit at a time. So as the data is serially transmitting, the data should be retrieved one bit at a time. The data stored in each cell are retrieved strictly in accordance with their position in the sequence. Otherwise, what will happen if the data retrieved, if it is happened in a random way, the data retrieval is may not be whatever the data is writing. So, the data erroneous data may be retrieved. So, to avoid that one, it is very strictly see that the arrangement of the cells in such a way that data retrieval is one after the other in accordance to their position in the sequence. So the data may be retrieved on a first in first out base while designing as the customized first in first out need not be a first in first out, or it may be a first in last out, or it may be a last in first out basis based on the application requirement. So the first in first out are generally widely used in the case of applications of like telecommunications or any other error checking. All these kind of applications will use this first in first out kind of memories. So here these are generally made using SRAM cells if there is a requirement for the data to be maintained in the first in first out, and from the DRAM cells if the data simply pass through first in first out. So the data are transferred from cell to cell by sequential operation of the clock. Usually, when the data to be transmitted, there should be a control. The control is can be seen through the clock. So the moment once the clock is given a on clock, then the data shifts will happen. If the given clock is off clock, then the data shifts will stop for for some duration. So based on the clock control, the data will be shift. Data shift will happen in a process in a way. Many first in first of currently available are RAM based designs because RAM structure is very simple, simple architecture as we have seen in the earlier sessions. So simple RAM structures will be used for the construction of first in first out designs with self-incremental internal read and write pointers. So the incrementing from one cell to other cell while taking out the data from first in first out, it need not to by additional circuitry but self-incremental, which results in very low fall through times. What is the fall through time? The fall through time is nothing but elapsing time between first write to the response. So whatever the time it is taking for giving the input to the time it is taking to the output, the time for the first read may be begin. So that is fall through time of the first in first out. So the main advantage of this kind of first in first out is self incremental internal read and write operations, which results in very low fall through times. The serial registers, not shift registers, but bitwide memory arrays with self-incremental pointers. These first in first outs can be expanded in any depth to any level by cascading the multiple devices. So here, as an example, first in first outs can arrange in depth from 64 by 4 bits or 64 by 5 bits or 16K by 9 bits and higher devices. In the diagram, it is shown that 8192 by 9 bits. Um, then it is an example that is a functional diagram of an IDT 2K by 9 bits parallel CMOS first in first out. So it is a dual port memory, as dual port memory in the sense as earlier discussed that both the Q and Q bar outputs will be used for other for two different systems. So dual port memory that loads and empties the data on first in first out basis. So the devices uses full and empty flags. So there is a another control along with the clock that to see that when the data is shifted, when the data is supposed to be reload using flags. So full and empty are the two flags which are used for observing whether the data is full in the memory present or not. That is each individual row. If you observe that this is one row and this is another row like that, this is having 8,119 92 rows with each row capacities of 9 bits. So D0 to 9 D9, as the data is entered each row, whether it is full or empty based on the two flags will be operating. So to prevent the data overflow and underflow. So basically, when the all the cells are written, for example, from this first row to last row, if all the bits are overwritten, cells are written. So once all the rows are written, once again, if the data tries to enter, the data will be overflowed. Otherwise, if the data is overflow, erroneous data will be received at the other end. So to avoid that one, two flags will be used, full and empty flags. Similarly, the reads and writes are internally sequentially through the use of ring pointers with no address information required to load and unload the data. So here we can see that ring pointers will be used. That ring pointers will be helpful for from where the data is taking out. So this is read pointer, this read pointer pointing automatically, and this is the write pointer. These are nothing but ring pointer, like starting from the starting row to ending row, they will be pointing to the each row, so it is act like a ring pointer. It is toggled in and out of the device using write and read pins. So these are the write and read pins. So here the data will be written or read using the toggling of read and write operations. It utilizes 9-bit wide data, D0 to 9-bit wide data array to allow for control and parity bits at the user's option. And it is also features a retransmit capability. So, for example, if the data is not properly transmitted, it is also have a retransmit capability. That is, this is the reset logic or a retransmit logic. So, this retransmit logic gives a condition in such a way that the data will be once again will be returned into the cell. So, that will be retrieved once again. So that is one advantage. The first reset of the read pointer will be pointed to its initial position. In that way, read operation happens once again. Read operation. Then a half full flag is available in the single device and with expansion modes. So flag is of type half full flag will be available for the single device, and here the device has a read write cycle time of 30 nanoseconds. That is 33 megahertz frequency of operation. So this is all about first in first out SRAM. Let us see one more application specific memory, that is content addressable memory. So this is content addressable memory. Shortly, we can also call it as CAM. So CAM is or not like a standalone memory. So standalone memory is generally where in any of the systems we will be seeing that memories where each data line will be having an address. But in the case of CAM associated with such a way that an address will be associated with the data. And that means you can search the in the standalone memory, you can search the data based on the address. But in the CAM, you can search the data based on the address. So that is what the difference between CAM and standalone device. So the data are presented to the inputs of the CAM within which searches for a match to those data in the CAM, regardless of the address. So when a match is found, the CAM identifies the address location of the data. So the application using CAMs include database management, caching, pattern imaging, recognition, like that. So this is the diagram for cache memory, CAM memory. So in this you can observe that this is the control circuitry, IO control, and as well as segment counter, and this is enable, read, write, data control. For this is the control circuitry. And if you see that the CAM word starting from zero, this is CAM word ending. The CAM internal block will be comprising 48-bit register as well as 48-bit comparator compare. That means once a given word is given, that will be verified with the corresponding address. So this requires a 48-bit register for taking the word, as well as 48 register for comparing. So here So here consisting of this is consisting of block diagram consisting of advanced micro devices AM99 C10 a CMOS cam with capacity of 256 words. So it is a capacity of having 256 words, each consisting of 48-bit comparator, 48-bit register. So this comparator compares every time whatever the word it is loaded. But while comparing, it compares with the master key. So this is compare with mask register is present. If the comparison happens, that results in the comparator and register word, whatever the comparator register word is having, with that it compares every time each word present in the register. So when the comparator identifies the corresponding match from the compared register, so then the outcome will be a match, otherwise a null. So here in this way, the content addressable memory will works. So this is all about application specific memories. We can wind up with this for session.